Just give me a minute. Okay. Can you hear me, Nidhi? Nidhi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the topic we are going to study today is human resource development. We must understand that human resource development is one of the elements of human resource management. In our last class, we studied human resource management, and one of the objectives of human resource management is human resource development. So, from the word development itself, we understand that human resource development is all about the training and development of human beings in your company. That when we look at employees working in a business organization, the HRD or the human resource development will refer to all those activities that the HR manager and his team will be performing pertaining to training and development of employees. Now, these two words, training and development, have to be understood very carefully. So, training is an activity or you can understand a process that is taken on by the human resource manager where he aims at giving new knowledge, skills, trying to develop new aptitudes for the people working in an organization. Whereas development is a more long drawn process where the human beings are developed in a business organization by giving short term, medium term, and long term training processes, making sure that they change with changing times. New skills, refreshed knowledge has to be provided so that it is not just training for a specific skill, but training for skills that are required in the changing environment of business. So it helps the employees in developing. Remember, in HRD, human resource development is all about development, and it aims in developing the knowledge, skills, and abilities of the employees in an organization to achieve self fulfillment, and aid in the accomplishment of organizational goals. So what do you mean by self-fulfillment? When people work in your business organization or they work in a particular business organization, they should be able to do their work well. They should have the knowledge and have the skill to perform their tasks and achieve their objectives. And that too, they should not make mistakes. They should do it properly. And for that, the requisite knowledge, the requisite skill has to be provided. And this is the responsibility of the HR manager so that the employees are not frustrated. If you give them a task and they're not able to perform that task correctly, then people get frustrated and very soon they will leave the business organization. So to make employees happy, to boost their morale, to give them job satisfaction, it is necessary that you give them the commensurate knowledge or the skills that they need to do their jobs. So first of all, employees who are working in a business organization have to be developed so that there is self-fulfillment. They are happy that they have the knowledge and the skill and they are able to do their tasks and achieve their goals. And by doing that, they're not just achieving their own individual career goals, they're also achieving and accomplishing the team's goal or the department's goal, and finally, the goal of the whole business organization. What are the elements of human resource development? So, the elements, as you can see, we have already studied in our previous slide. So, if you are the HR manager, the human resource manager of a business organization, you will be dealing in areas of employee training, career development, performance management, coaching, mentoring, key employee identification, talent development, and organization development. So, what is all this? Let us try and understand. Training, we understand. Training is making sure that your employees have a particular skill, have the knowledge, have new knowledge to do their tasks. Career development, very important. When people join your business organization in a particular position, they should be uh, encouraged to remain in your organization, perform well so that they can grow with your company. So if he is a junior marketing officer, when he joins, his career should develop, he should perform well and move on to maybe marketing manager, and he can also become the managing director of his company. So there should be a growth path, and the HR manager is responsible for training and developing the careers of these employees in an organization. What is performance management? Now, performance management will happen only if the performance of people working in a business organization are checked. When I say checked, you have to evaluate the performance of people. So, for evaluation, you have to have standards or you have to have goals or targets which are preset, which you see, for example, last time we saw job analysis where we saw job description and job specification. So when we are looking at performance management, every employee's performance has to follow job description. So whatever the responsibilities or the roles mentioned in job description have to be evaluated through performance management. So performance appraisal is a tool in HRD we will see when we are going to understand performance management. Coaching, as we all know, the role of the team leader of a business organization is to coach, and HR has to make sure that coaching is done. So on the job training, solving the difficulties, making sure that the mental and physical conditions of a person working in a company is healthy and they are happy at their work. Mentoring, guiding your people, motivating them to move ahead. A key employee identification. What is key employee identification? The HR team have to be uh, on the lookout for people who perform extremely well or who show certain potentials that could be different from the others, and they could be identified as people for a higher role. So key employee identification is also one of the functions performed by human resource development. Talent development and organization development. So human resource is talented, they may come with excess of talent, but that has to be further improved. For that, you need training and development, and you also have to encourage them for new talent, which may be hidden in them. So all this will help not just the development of the human resource, but the organization as a whole. So the organization develops along with employees when we are doing the function of human resource development. So developing a highly productive and a superior workforce is the aim of HRD activities. So when we see the human resource manager and we try and understand what is the ultimate aim of the HR manager is under the function of HRD is that he has to improve, make the employees highly productive and make the workforce superior than what they previously were. So this is the aim of human resource development. So HRD strives for the improvement of not just the individual workers, but for the growth of the group and organization as a whole. So here, these are not just the development of individual employees, but the entire team, all the employees in the team have to grow, and it is the growth of the team, the department, and of the entire organization together. So it's a very big responsibility because there are so many people working in an organization, so many departments. Each person in each department has its own tasks to do, objectives to achieve, and then it becomes a huge responsibility of training, motivating, developing all the employees, all the departments, and the entire business organization. They have to work under the overarching objectives of the organization and move towards the goals and profit and success of the company. So here is a very interesting picture which talks to you about elements of human resource development. So this picture you must remember, it is a part of human resource management. So very, very important part of human resource management because it aims at improving the potential, the skills, the knowledge, motivating human beings or employees in an organization, and what are the ways in which that it can be done. Coaching, succession planning. What is succession planning? Succession planning is training your subordinate in such a manner that when you retire, he can take your place. Performance management. Yes. Performance management, very important. Performance appraisal has to be done, and if you are not performing well, special training programs have to be given to those employees so that they are developed. Mentoring, career development, assistance, tuition are all different ways by which we can perform the function of human resource development. Now, let us define the term human resource development. Very important from exam point of view. You should be able to define and also give the meaning, elements, nature of human resource development. Anything can be asked in the examination and you should be able to write it well. So human resource development is defined as activities and process undertaken by an organization to formulate the intellectual, moral, psychological, cultural, social, and economic development of individuals in an organization in order to help them to achieve the highest human potential as a resource for the community. It means to bring about a total all-round development of the working human so that they can contribute their best to the organization, community, society, and the nation. Let's try and understand what this definition is, this functional definition of human resource development is trying to tell us. So when the HR manager is managing the employees and he's performing the human resource development activity, what is he doing? He has to take on all those activities and processes which are stimulating the intellectual, moral, psychological, cultural, social, and economic development of individuals. So it is not just give them knowledge, give them skill, give them knowledge, give them skill. It is very, very important that there has to be an all-round development of human beings, because otherwise the human or the human resource will be very skewed. We have real people working in the business organization, and unless we develop all the aspects of facets of the human beings, they will not be happy in your organization. And therefore they should be relaxed, they should be motivated, and for that, you have to stimulate and conduct training courses which will give them new knowledge, talk about morality, what is right and wrong, or the ethics as far as the job that they are performing, psychological, cultural, social, and economic. All aspects of the task or the job that they are doing have to be explained to them, because only when you develop all these facets of the individual pertaining to the organization, pertaining to the team, and pertaining to the job in specific that they are performing, we say that we are developing the human resource. It means to bring about a total all-round development of the working human so that they can contribute their best to the organization, community, society, and the nation. So we must understand, students, that while we are looking at human resource development, uh, the aim of HRD is to make your employees very efficient, to improve the quality, improve their output, improve their efficiency. You cannot just be running after results or pushing them to work harder, reduce costs, and maximize profits. While this definitely is the background objective of human resource development, we have to remember that we are dealing with human beings, and they come with a mind, they come with feelings, they come with sensibilities, they come with a heart, and therefore they have to be motivated, and therefore you have to deal with their psychological, cultural, social, and economic development also, and very, very important, the moral development. We cannot have cutthroat competition and say that our company has to succeed at any cost. Do any activity, but make sure that your company is number one. You cannot have these kinds of training imparted to your employees, because that will be incorrect. So you have to develop your human resource in an all-rounded manner so that they develop and they're able to contribute their best. It is all about bringing the best out of the human resource. So when your human beings are motivated, they feel happy to come to work. There is less absenteeism. They work with interest, and they are motivated to think and innovate and give off their best to the business organization. And this is what is the aim of human resource development. Now, meaning of human resource development. Once you have defined human resource development, then you have to try and explain all the aspects in that definition, which you can do through the process of explaining the meaning of HRD. So the first one is, when you are performing the human resource development function, or when HRD is happening in a business organization, what is the process? What is it that is actually happening? Acquire or sharpen capabilities required to perform various functions associated with their present or expected future goals. So this is the first important process. So the HRD is a process which helps employees of an organization in a continuous and planned way. So HRD is not just, hello, hello, sorry, this call from there. All right. So acquire or sharpen capabilities required. So what are these capabilities required? If you are working in a particular business organization, you have a job description, you have certain um, tasks to perform, you have a role and responsibility, and to do that particular activity or to perform that particular role, you have to have the knowledge and the skill, the authority and the responsibility to do it. And HRD has to help human resource to acquire or sharpen the capabilities required to perform those various functions. For example, if you are an accounts clerk and you are working in the accounts department, you have to you have to have knowledge of using various financial packages, and it cannot be just any outdated package. You have to update yourself and you have to be very well versed with the version that they are using in that particular business organization. So you have to first of all know an accounting software, and you have to sharpen your knowledge of using that particular software very well. So only then it will help you to perform your functions. And this particular sharpening capabilities is not just with what you're required to do now, but also from the point of view in the future. So in the future, if new softwares are going to come, new versions are going to come, the employees have to be given the training to those new versions also. Develop their general capabilities as individuals and discover and exploit their inner potential for their own and or expected future roles. So when HRD is happening, you have to give task related capabilities. You have to give them general capabilities as individuals and discover and exploit their inner potential. So HRD is definitely about giving task related potentials, but it is also encouraging the human resource to discover themselves, to find out their hidden talents, their inner potentials, and also give them an opportunity to train and bring out those hidden potentials and to the benefit of the organization and the benefit of the employee also. Develop an organizational culture. Yes. So while human resource development is all about training employees, developing employees, it is also about creating an organizational culture. So what is an organizational culture? It is the ecosystem in which employees work in an organization. This ecosystem has to be something which is happy. It has to be something which is motivating employees to work. So there has to be proper communication. There has to be team spirit. You have to have good leadership. And people should want to work together. They have to collaborate. They have to network. And there has to be a professional well-being. People who work should feel proud that they are able to do their best. And employees should work as a team and take the organization together. So creating this environment or an organizational culture is very important. So while human resource development is happening, many times training can result into jealousy, can result into competition among employees. But yes, competition should be healthy competition, and people should collaborate. They should share their knowledge so that the entire department and company goes ahead. So this is something that has to be developed by the HR manager. Organization culture. Now, HRD process is facilitated by different mechanisms. So when the HR manager decides to develop people working in an organization, what are the tools that he has in his hand? As I explained before, there is performance appraisal. So while people perform their work, it is necessary to watch them carefully and to assess how they are working. So this assessment is normally done throughout the year, and feedback is given in the form of performance appraisal report annually. But we are going to do a case study and understand that performance appraisal has to be a continuous task, and it could be done on a quarterly, half yearly, and annual uh, basis, so that people understand where they're going wrong, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, and depending on that, training programs can be organized. There can be organizational development. So taking the whole organization ahead, bringing some new technologies, training everybody on new technologies, giving employees feedback. If there are some problems, uh, some interpersonal problems, counseling is very important. Career development. sitting with the employees and finding out what are their dreams and aspirations. What do they want to be 5 years from now? Where do they see themselves 10 years from now? And finding out whether their dreams can be achieved in the organization and the path that they have to take to go ahead. Potential development. So every employee comes with certain abilities. Those abilities depend upon his knowledge, his skills, uh, and also his motivation at that particular point in time. But of course, he has hidden talent, hidden capabilities, which have to be tapped by the HR manager by giving higher order training and uh, trying to help the employee understand his potentials. Job rotation and rewards are very important to reduce monotony. And when you give rewards to employees for the work they do, they are motivated and they work very happily. So employees are continuously helped to acquire new competencies. So when you join a particular business organization, you may go with a degree of commerce and you may enter the accounts or the financial department of a business organization. But when you work in a particular organization, you may have hidden talents and your capabilities are then monitored. The way you speak, the way you carry yourself, the challenges that you face, the stress that you're able to handle. The business organization will watch you as a resource and train you and give you feedback and make sure that you can be given new knowledge. So if you're good in marketing, you can move from your accounts department to marketing and you can make a career in that area. So continuously help to acquire new competencies is also one of the aspects of HRD. Okay, so what are the aims of HRD? To improve performance and definitely the performance of employees, improve competencies. What is competencies? A particular level of expertise is called competency. So you may come in with low competency, with training, your competency could level or uh, your efficiency or output in a particular task can be increased. And with more training and more experience, your competency can come to its highest level. So when we say improve competencies, that then becomes the aim of human resource development. Improve group dynamism and effectiveness. So we all know that this is one of the biggest challenges of the HR manager, group dynamism. So group dynamism is because people who work in a business organization are heterogeneous in nature. They come from different backgrounds, from different mindsets, from different environments, and they have different beliefs. Bringing all of them together with this heterogeneity, working. Students, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So to improve the performance of individual, improve competencies, improve group dynamism and effectiveness. So the challenges of HR manager is to bring on all these people with different mindsets, bring them together. They may be coming from different castes, creed, religions, different age groups, different genders, but they have to be brought together. There has to be a symphony, and their differences, the differences of the individuals in the group, should become the strength of the group, and they should work together and contribute their uh, efficiencies and complement one another's potentials and make the department a very, very strong, effective department. Improve individuals' attitude. attitude, students, is one of the biggest stumbling blocks of business organization. So HR manager has to study the employees along with their attitude, and they have to make sure that the attitude is commensurate to the role and responsibility of the people. So many a times counseling is given to correct in the attitudes which are incorrect, and some kind of team building and interpersonal skills training may be given, and also skill training, knowledge, new knowledge, in order to motivate people working in an organization and make sure that they have the right attitude for the job. They should want to do the work happily. Integrate goal of individual with the goal of an organization. Very, very important. So if a particular business organization has to grow and succeed and survive in the competition uh, that exists in the environment, we understand that the human resource is the most important active thinking resource which contributes to the success of a company. So people are coming in and going out or leaving, or the attrition rate is very high. Uh, Employee turnover is very high. It means that the employees in your organization are not happy, and therefore they are leaving you and going. So ultimately, if your company has to succeed, the people working in your company have to be happy, and they would want to stay only if their individual goals are matching with the goals of the organization. So if they have a career plan that within 5 years they should get an X amount of salary and have a particular higher designation, and then the next 5 years they should have a higher designation and a X amount of salary, then all these dreams should be possible, or career path they should be able to see. Their growth path is something that they should see. And whatever are their the job satisfaction that they want from that particular role that they are playing, they should achieve. And therefore, there has to be integration of the goal of an individual with the goal of the organization. And if this doesn't happen, then the employees are unhappy. Either the employee leaves or the company sacks the employee. Now, aims of HRD: optimize the available human resource in an organization. When we say optimize, means to make the best possible use of the available human resource. You can never say that the people working in my company are no good. Human beings can be developed. Human beings have a potential, and it is very, very important for the human resource manager to make the best possible use of this resource called human resource. And this is where we call it optimize the available resource. You must not overutilize them. You must not underutilize them. You have to have optimum utilization of human resource. HRD is all about encouraging creativity. So it is new knowledge, new skill, but also encourage creativity. So when there is creativity, there is innovation, and it is to the benefit of the company. Provide opportunities and facilities to individuals for full expression of their talent and potential. So when we are looking at developing human resource, it is optimum utilization, encourage creativity, and give them opportunities for full expression of their talent. Give them tasks, give them jobs where they can use their creativity, where they can use their skills, their knowledge, so that after they finish their job, they feel happy and satisfied. Improve interpersonal relationship and work culture. So people do not work in isolation in a company. They work as groups, they work in teams, they work in departments. And communication is the key to success. So good communication, good networking, good leadership, good teamwork is very, very important. And every employee has to belong and feel happy to work in a particular team. And this interpersonal relationship and work culture has to be created through human resource development. Bring industrial harmony. So when is there industrial harmony? When there is there is a happy coexistence of all the levels in your pyramid of your company, your top level, middle level, and your bottom. It is the workers class, the middle management class, and the think tank of a business organization should all work in harmony. So if the laborers are uh, unhappy and they are on strike with the management of the company, then this brings about industrial disharmony. And it is very sad. And then the human resource manager has to step in and find out what is going wrong. Because if the teams or the levels in a business organization are opposing one another, the company can never move forward. The company can never succeed and grow. And most important, increase productivity. So unless productivity is increased, we will not be in a position to maximize profit. Objectives of human resource development in this particular diagram. Very neatly put, if you are the HR manager and you are performing the human resource development function, what are you doing? You are developing the employees of your organization, the people in your organization. So what do? You train them, you empower them, you reward them, you educate them. So when we say training, it's all about giving them different short-term, medium-term, long-term sessions, and you educate them. For example, if you're permitting a particular employee to do their PhD or to do a master's program where they get higher degrees, you empower them, give them new knowledge. Cutthroat competition exists. So if you have to survive, you have to refresh your knowledge from point to point. So you have to empower them with the latest skills, latest techniques. And finally, most important, reward them. Because unless they are given feedback and they are complimented for what the work they do, unless they are rewarded, they will not be gratified. And gratification is very important. And reward is something that motivates employees and helps them to work better. Objectives of human resource development, as we continue on this, to prepare the employee to meet the present and changing future job requirements. So training is not just for the current scenario, but training should also be future oriented because the environment is dynamic and things change every day, and therefore the training program should also be forward looking. To prevent employee obsolescence, to develop creative abilities and talents to prepare employees for higher level jobs. So what is employee obsolescence? To become obsolete is to become outdated. So when people join a particular business organization, they may come with a particular skill set and knowledge. They cannot remain with the same knowledge and same skills till the day they retire, because eventually they will become redundant, because their skills will become outdated, and therefore giving the new information, refreshed knowledge, the latest new techniques have to be given in training programs to employees. So only this will prevent employees from becoming outdated. So if new technologies have to be used in a business organization, employees also have to be upgraded. To develop creative abilities and talents to prepare employees for higher level jobs. So employees are a resource that has to be developed, and people move ahead, and if they want to progress in their career path, they have to be trained for higher level jobs. They cannot be trained for the same job that they took up when they joined the organization. So more challenging jobs, for higher order jobs, new training has to be given. Objectives of human resource development: to broaden the minds of senior managers. So when managers are doing their very stressful activities, in order to motivate them, many a times the human resource manager interchanges their roles, therefore gives them opportunities for interchange of experiences within and outside that there is some challenges, and people learn through this exercise, and this works very well for senior managers to ensure smooth and efficient working of the organization. So why does the HR manager do this training and development activity? So when we are talking about human resource management, HRD is one of the most important tasks because it helps the business organization to work smoothly and work efficiently. Why so? Because human resource is the only thinking, active resource. And if goals have to be achieved, if environment challenges have to be faced, if planning has to be made for the new beginning of your organization or to face challenges, then it can happen only through continuous training and development to provide comprehensive framework for human resource development. Now, human resource development students is not a training activity that happens sporadically. The human resource manager will not just look at employees from a one-to-one point and say, oh, you cannot speak, so I will send you for a communication class. Oh, you have poor team skills, I will send you for a team building class. In fact, human resource development is a slow, continuous, and comprehensive activity. And for every department, for every team, and for every member of the team, there has to be a proper framework, a comprehensive framework, a plan which is chalked out after studying every employee very carefully, understanding his career goals, understanding his abilities, his strengths, his weaknesses. All this has to be taken into consideration, and all individuals in the company have to be studied, and therefore a very comprehensive framework has to be created for the entire organization where the HR manager is under complete control as to where the company is going as far as the training and development and the growth path of the employees. To enhance organizational capabilities, if the human resources develop, the organization's capabilities of taking new challenges and making more profit will be possible. To create a climate that enables every employee to discover, develop, and use his or her capabilities to the fuller extent, and further both individual and the organizational goals. So we all studied in one of our previous slides that organization climate is very important. The spirit of the environment in which people are working, the interpersonal skills is very important, and also the HR manager helps to develop the individual and the group goals of the company. To improve new entrants with basic HRD skills and knowledge. So the human resource manager has to make sure that all the new employees who join the organization go through induction, orientation, and they are given training on the skills and knowledge that they require to do their task. So though you are a BCom or though you may be a computer engineer, when you join a particular company, they have to give you training, and which means giving skills and knowledge which will help you perform the task for which you are appointed in the company. And HRD is about developing the potentials of people for next level jobs. As we said, the human mind has tremendous potentials, and the human beings themselves do not know the potentials they possess. And therefore, HRD is all about developing the capabilities, the potentials of people, and helping them to move ahead to the next level of the job. To a total quality management. TQM is a very important management activity. When we talk about TQM students, it is all about understanding that every aspect of a business organization has to think about total quality and zero mistakes. So when we say zero mistakes, it can happen only when every employee, right from the lowest rung to the highest rung, has to understand the philosophy of the company, where the company believes in total quality, zero defect. And this is something that has to percolate from top to bottom and bottom to top in an organization. And this is possible only through proper human resource development. It's not enough only for the workers to work hard, but it is also important for the marketing department, accounts department, every human being working in every functional department of a business organization has to understand the TQM philosophy and has to be trained towards the philosophy of the business organization. To promote individual and collective morale, so it is not just individual morale, but also team morale, which has to be high, and a sense of responsibility, cooperative attitudes, and good relationships. All these are very important because people have to work together, they have to communicate, they have to coordinate, they have to cooperate, they have to network, and they have to make sure that they respect one another, they understand their responsibilities, and they have to check their attitudes, and they have to cooperate with everybody, maintain good relations, and focus on the task and make sure that the objectives are achieved. Now, what is the need for human resource development? So, people need competencies to perform tasks. So if you're given, as in my previous example, if you're going to be an accounts clerk, you have to have knowledge of a computerized accounting software. So continuous development of competencies in people is essential for an organization to achieve its goal. So give them the skill and the knowledge to do a task. And this has to be done on a continuous basis, and it becomes the role and responsibility or the need for human resource. If you don't give them the skill, if you don't give people the knowledge, they will not be able to perform. Now, to maintain a level of growth, very, very important. When a business organization grows, there is a point where it reaches its maximum peak of growth. We can call it the maturity level, beyond which the company may not be able to grow, but it is necessary for the company to sustain and maintain the graph parallel to the x-axis for a very long period of time. So though they have reached saturation, they have to maintain the saturation of growth for a long time. And this can happen only through continuous development and training. It's very challenging, but human resource development will help your business organization to broaden this curve and remain at the top over a period of time and help your organization maximize profits. So organizations operate in an environment that keeps changing, requiring employees to acquire new knowledge. And this then becomes the responsibility of HRD. Improve effectiveness is the need for human resource development. Any organization interested in improving its services and its effectiveness. So if every business organization wants to be effective, what is the meaning of being effective? You are an effective business organization if you're able to reduce your costs. If there is a reduction in delays. Delays can be when you are supplying goods to your customers. Increase customer satisfaction. Customer has to be delighted with your product. Improved quality and promptness of service. Marketing image. All these are key aspects in today's competitive world. And if a business organization has to stay on the top, all these aspects have to be kept in mind. And therefore, human resource development has to take place on a continuous basis to train employees in the business organization to remain effective and improve the services that they are providing. It needs to develop the competencies of its employees to perform the tasks needed to bring about such improvements. So this is one of the needs. Now, students, we have moved to uh, that section of human resource development, which is very, very important from exam point of view. Now, in your textbooks, they may have given different points here. These are some fresh points that you could also add. They are new points. And I would like to discuss these very interesting points. So, what are the functions of human resource development? So, when a human resource manager is performing the human resource development activity, he performs these 9 functions. The first one is performance appraisal. We are going to study performance appraisal in the next hour of my session today. We understand that performance appraisal is nothing but monitoring the employees working in your organization and giving them a feedback on their performance, telling them their strengths, telling them their weaknesses, and helping them assess themselves. And therefore, performance appraisal is a very important activity which justifies why a particular person is promoted or demoted or sacked from a company. So we will see all this in our next hour. Human resource development is about employee training, because the word development is all about training, giving new skills, new knowledge. It is all also about executive development. So when you have executives in a business organization who are doing higher level jobs, who are doing managerial tasks, they too need to be developed. It is not just the mid-level employees that need to be trained, but also executive development has to be trained. People in higher cadres in your business organization. Very, very important is career planning and development. I have already discussed several times career planning and development. Every employee who joins the organization has a career path, and he wants to grow, and he wants to see himself in a particular position after 5 years, after 10 years, after 15 years of working in a particular industry. And whether your company is providing that career path becomes the responsibility of human resource development. So helping an employee plan careers and developing them to move on that path becomes the responsibility of the human resource development function. Successful planning and development of the organization. So when your company is growing, there could be challenges, there could be opportunities, and planning and developing the business organization successfully happens only if the human resource development function is performed successfully in your company. So your company cannot plan and develop without a motivated and an effective human resource. Organizational change and development. So is your organization ready for change? Is your organization ready for example, what is happening with us today in the COVID environment? The entire teaching learning scenario has changed. Our online sessions has become the new normal. So there could be all these challenges. Your company will be changing. It could be growing. It could be diversifying, or it could be going through a crisis. Whatever could be the challenge, whatever could be the change, are your human resource ready for it? Involvement in social and religious programs. As we said, group dynamics. People are working together. They come from different backgrounds. They bring with them strengths and abilities that come from varied thought processes and philosophies that people carry. And respecting all these philosophies, working together, bringing about social harmony is very, very important. Involvement in quality circles, when people in the shop floor or factory work together either formally or informally and try to solve problems in the production line. They are actually doing the function of problem solving. They are trying to think out of the box. They're trying to find solutions to problems. Then it becomes the role and responsibility of HRD to be part of all these quality circles. And involvement in worker participation in management. Very, very important. There has to be feel good factor for workers, that they should be able to participate in decision making in an organization. And workers' participation in management today is a very important function of human resource development to take the entire organization forward. So I have given you an overview of all these points. We will quickly study uh, the functions of human resource development. We see 5 key functions of human resource development. First one, when an employee joins a business organization, he goes through the process of recruitment and selection. And when that is happening, what is HRD actually doing? They're doing it strategic. You see A, you see point A here, strategic talent sourcing and acquisition. So talent sourcing and acquisition, getting the right person for the right job is the responsibility of human resource management, and it is the beginning, the starting point of human resource development. So if you first of all are not putting the right person on the right job, there is no scope for you to develop that employee. So strategic talent sourcing and acquisition is the starting point of the functions of human resource development. Then you have B, which is education oriented employee benefits. So if the employee comes with a particular knowledge, a particular degree, a particular proficiency, then obviously he should be given roles, responsibilities. Then in C, there is performance measure. Now, performance measurement and management would mean that your task or your role or your position will be increased if your performance is better. So your performance measurement happens through performance appraisal, and your it is also managed. If you're not doing well in a particular task, you may be transferred to another department, division, or branch, and this can happen through the process of performance appraisal, which allows for performance measurement and management. So that is part C of your functions of human resource development. B is formal learning and development programs. So when we say formal learning, there could be two types: short-term, medium-term, long-term learning. It could be in the form of courses, training programs. It could also be in the form of having degrees and certifications. So you can go and today there are a lot of certifications available. You can go to Coursera and enroll for a training program, online training program, or you could go to a university and take on a university program. All this is can be routed through your human resource development if it is part of their uh, training basket. E is internal mobility and succession. So if you are in your business organization and you're doing very well in your position and you are trained and you are ready to move on to the next role, human resource development is all about helping you to get promoted to that new position. So growth of an employee, development of an employee happens only if there is internal mobility. We talked about internal and external sources of recruitment. So the internal source of recruitment brings about internal mobility, and there is succession planning. So a subordinate is trained with the skills that he needs to take on the position of his superior. So if a marketing manager is retiring, there should be a subordinate who is fully trained in the roles and responsibilities of marketing manager so that he can succeed and take on the position very smoothly when the actual retirement of this marketing manager happens. Functions of human resource development here. First one, performance appraisal. Performance appraisal, or it is called employees performance appraisal or merit rating. This is necessary for HRD to assess the relative efficiency of various workers as reflected in their performance of their jobs. Performance appraisal or merit rating is concerned with the rating of the workers on their jobs. HRD has to perform this function to analyze and classify the differences amongst workers vis-a-vis job standards. So definitely when there are performance appraisal function is taken place, job standards are clearly defined. It is given in your job description, and the out or the work done by employees is compared with what is expected of them. And then there is comparison. A gap is identified. It could be a negative gap or a positive gap, and depending upon that, feedback is given and training is provided. Employee training. HRD has to provide proper training to its employees or workers, which results in increasing the knowledge and skills of an employee for doing a particular job. So training is the most important function performed by human resource development. Executive development. What is executive development? So HRD is to provide for executive development in an organization, which means executive development is a program by which executive capacities to achieve desired objectives are increased. Programs must be related to development of various interrelated matters, factors, and needs. Now, we all know that the top management uh, has to use the cognitive domain for the success in their activities. And many a times, because of environmental challenges or because of internal and external challenges that exist in business environment, there could be some problems for these executives to work effectively in on their role, on their jobs. So the human resource development function has to understand exactly what is the need of these executives. What are the problems or challenges they are facing? Is it to do with interrelated matters? Are there departmental fights? What are the factors that are affecting these executives? Are they internal environmental factors, external environmental factors, or is it some challenge that they are faced with? All this has to be studied very carefully, and programs have to be set up for these executives to help them train and develop in those very challenging tasks. So executive capacities involve different individual abilities of present and prospective managers at different levels of management. So it's all about training managers, helping them perform their leadership roles more effectively, helping them cope with stress, helping them to think on their feet. The desired objectives include objectives of the concern, its executives, and the persons to be managed. So there are so many factors that have to be studied, and these executives have to be trained on all these factors in order to do their role more effectively. Career planning and development. So human resource development has to perform the role or the function of career planning and development. So in our meaning of human resource development, we said that people should grow with their business organization. People should enter your company and they should be happy with your company. When are they happy? When they have job satisfaction, when they have pride, and when they see that they are rewarded well, both monetarily and with rewards, which are it could be a prize or a recognition. And then they are shown, they are given also promotions. So all these things have to be taken into consideration when we are talking about career planning and development. So people, once they enter your business organization, they have to be monitored very carefully. Their potentials have to be studied. They have to be given training for the job they are doing, and they also have to be given training for the future jobs or tasks that they would need to perform. And they should be motivated at all points in time to move ahead on their career graph. So career planning is a systematic process by which an individual selects his career goals and the path to these goals. So when he is entering the business organization, he may say that I want to be in his position for 3 years, and after 3 years, I want to be promoted to that level. So of course, he will be promoted only if he works hard and only if he performs well. When will he perform well? Only if he has the skills, knowledge to perform. And this happens only through human resource development. So if he's trained continuously and if he is given a new knowledge, then he is motivated to work hard. And when he performs well, he will be promoted. And therefore, he is moving ahead on his career path. From the organization's point of view, career planning means helping employees to plan their career in terms of their capabilities within the context of the organization requirements. So obviously, the HRD is always looking at people growing within the organization. They don't want people to remain static on a job from the beginning, the start of their job till they retire. They want people to grow with the company. And they want to improve the potential of the people and the efficiency of people. So career planning and development involve formulation of an organizational system of career improvement and growth opportunities for employees from the time of their appointment in the organization to their retirement time. So the entire tenure they spend in the company will be the span in which career development, planning and development has to take place. And it is the function of human resource development to help people grow with the business organization. Successful planning and development. So human resource development has to be done very stringently, has to be done very effectively, because only when this happens, it helps the business organization to plan and develop successfully. So human resource has to be developed to enable them to think and take the business forward. So there can be no growth in a business organization if the human beings are not developed. So if you have to plan for the future, if you have to develop your business, then you have to develop the people working in the business. Organizational change and development. So another main function of HRD is organizational change and development. So what is this? So many a time the companies have to face a crisis. For example, our entire world is facing the COVID-19 crisis now. So these different companies, different organizations will suffer differently, but definitely we all understand that we have to diagnose what is going wrong where. We have to understand the problems. We have to build the teams. We have to have task forces. We have to change the structure in which we do our work. There has to be interventions. What are interventions? If there is some problem, you have to stop it and intervene and try to bring about a change in that activity so that you are helping that activity to perform better. So interventions such as role development, job enrichment, job redesigning, etc. needs to be done. And all this is the function of human resource development. So an organization has to face change. And whenever there is change, you can either go down with that change or you can go ahead with that change. So if the HRD is doing well, they will be able to face the challenges and they will be able to find out ways to come out of all those problems. They will adapt to those challenges and then there will be development. Organizational involvement in social and religious programs. Because human beings come from varied backgrounds, it is very necessary that the human resource development function involves social and religious programs, because these two aspects bring about the sensibilities of people working in an organization. And it is very important for the employees to respect one another, to work together, and they have to think together. Though they come from different backgrounds, they have to put their heads and their minds together and work as a team, work very closely and interact very closely with one another and work together. And therefore, this intermingling and having social and religious programs is very necessary. Involvement in quality circles. I spoke to you about quality circles. So this is a quality circle is a self-governing group of workers. They work either voluntarily together in order to identify and analyze and solve problems of their work field. So what is this quality circle? It's normally a group of people from the shop floor. If you ideally see a quality circle, it is a team of people from the factory. When they are watching the production happening, there could be some problems that they are facing. So to solve those problems, people come together. It could be a worker, it could be a foreman, it could be a supervisor, it could be an engineer. Okay? People from different departments who are all involved in that production activity, they come together regularly and try to find out what those problems are, and they try to find out answers to this. So this also comes under the purview of human resource development. It's an important function because when a business organization has quality circles as part of its human resource development function, it enables the workers to learn, it helps in decision making, problem solving skills, and it helps not just the employees but the business organization at large. The last function is involvement in workers' participation in management. Very, very important function. Now we understand that the top, middle, and bottom have to integrate. We are talking about the pyramid, the pyramidal structure of a business organization. Many a times you feel that, we see that the workers fall out and they go on strikes because they are not happy with the treatment that they are getting from the management, and there could be lockouts or strikes. So it then becomes one of the functions of human resource development is to share and exchange their ideas and viewpoints in the process of joint decision making in the organization. So if you're bringing about the workers' participation in management, it means you are inviting the workers in the decision making process of your business organization. So there is mutual respect, mutual learning and development that takes place because the workers class is very, very important, and they have to be treated with a lot of respect, very kindly, and their thinking has also to be included in the decision making of the company. Okay, so we have finished with these 9 important functions. I have to move fast because I have already crossed, I'm already 11 minutes lagging. So nature, human resource development, we will just run through it. The first one is learning is the essence of human resource development. Career development is one of the important functions or nature of human resource development. Human resource is always of a specific duration and it has a proper framework. Improves performance. So training programs are not just general training programs, but they will be specific and they help in enhancing the capabilities of employees and improving their productivity. So they are very, very specific to the employees' performance enhancement. Organizational development, HRD is development of human resource, but at the also the progress of the organization as a whole. And HRD is not just for short-term benefits, it is for long-term benefits. You cannot just train your employees and say, okay, next year you have to bring in so much revenue. It's not possible. You train your employees and you have to wait for them to apply their knowledge and bring about a change, to innovate, to think. And training is all about the long-term benefits that it brings to the organization. Training is HRD is a continuous process and it will change from time to time. You cannot have the same training program over a period of 10 years because environment change, skills change, knowledge changes, and these programs are also continuously evolving. Human resource development includes employee welfare, where human beings have to be taken care, employees have to be taken care and provided with certain facilities. So employee welfare facilities are canteen facilities, creche, medical insurance, etc. Some examples of employee welfare facilities. Now, development of team spirit. People work as a team, and HRD is not just about training individuals, it is also about building very effective teams where people with their knowledge and skills are able to work together, share their knowledge, and perform well and achieve the goals and objectives of the team. So this also has to be taught. So team spirit is necessary for fostering loyalty and belongingness amongst employees. And this will happen through good human resource development. So students, these are certain sources, and I thank these domains for giving me this information. And I thank you for the first session of human resource development. We are moving 14 minutes behind. We will go ahead with our next session, and that is performance appraisal. Now, performance appraisal is one of the elements or functions performed by human resource development. So if you have to develop your people, you have to first of all find out where they are, how effective they are, how good they are at their tasks. So if you have to develop them, you have to improve their efficiency. For that, you have to understand their abilities, and this happens only through performance appraisal. Now, performance appraisal is a regular review of an employee's job performance and an overall contribution to a company. So every person is contributing to the company. He's working, he's achieving tasks, he's achieving goals. Is he doing it on time? Is he doing it well? All this will happen only if he is monitored and an annual review is given. So the review could be weekly, monthly, quarterly, half yearly, or annually. But it has to be continuous review. And the performance appraisal, what does it do? It evaluates. I'm sorry. It evaluates an employee's skills, achievements, and growth or lack thereof. So when a person is employees working in a business organization, the human resource development function is that activity where he is monitored and he is given a feedback. So when we say feedback, first of all, he's commended for the good work that he has done. So if he has crossed his targets, then he is doing better than what is expected of him. So he has to be given commendations. His strengths are explained to him. His weaknesses, his limitations are all explained to him. If there are big gaps, some employees are not up to the mark, then the gap is explained, and then their promotions are decided on their performance appraisal. So if you're doing very well, then you're given a higher position, or good promotions are given. If you're not doing well, maybe you will be transferred to another location where you are trained for a job that will fit your level. So you could be promoted, you could be demoted, you could be sacked, you could be transferred. All this happens after the performance appraisal activity takes place. Now, this particular performance appraisal is importantly used for training activities. So this gap that exists between what the employee is expected to do and what he has not done is studied, and it is analyzed as to he could not do the task because he did not have the skills, he does not have the knowledge. And then these employees are given training, they are given some new knowledge, some new courses, which then will enable them to use this to perform better. So performance appraisal is a prerequisite for of human resource development and deciding on what kind of training, how much training is required for employees. Now, students, I want to quickly go through a very interesting case study on performance appraisal. Now, uh, this is the story of a dentist, okay, who has who's a big company, it's a big dentistry facility, and he had hired one assistant, a lady who was 46 years old, and she worked in this hospital, this dentist clinic for 9 months. And this dentist was not very happy with the performance of this lady, and he kept telling her that, you know, you should work better, you do not have the skills, and you do not come on time. There were lots of problems that he was facing, and he kept telling her on and off. And finally, after 9 months, this dentist, he sacked this lady, and he said, you don't come to work from tomorrow. I am removing you from my from this job because you are not good at your work, you're not effective. So immediately this lady got very upset, and then she decided to go to court, and she said, she claimed that she was going to fight for her civil rights, the right to be employed, and the right not to be discriminated at a place of work. She claims that she worked very well and she was very happy at her work, but the dentist removed her from her job only because of her age. The fact that she was 46 years old, and that the dentist did not want her to be doing that assistant's job because she was old, and that he actually wanted to hire somebody who was much younger than her, younger in age. So this lady, this assistant, she decided to fight for her civil rights, and she decided, and she said that she was discriminated against because of her age. So this is a very interesting case of performance appraisal. Now, how does this case? This is a Bent, Erickson, and Tim Twig case study, where they said, I'll just give you the background of this entire case study. They said that this particular dentist or this doctor, he had hired this lady 9 months back, and he was giving her only oral feedback. He was telling her that you're not good, you're not good. So, though he was doing a performance appraisal, he was watching her work and he was telling her where she was going wrong. All this was in a very casual manner. It was not given in the form of a formal report. So, this particular informal manner of giving her a feedback is not considered valid. So this lady claims that she was never given a performance appraisal report, and therefore she cannot be, it is illegal, and she should not be sacked, and she should be reinstated in her position. So obviously it is something that this dentist had to start thinking about. And then the case rolls over to state that performance appraisal is something that has to happen on a continuous basis. And it has to happen particularly when an employee is hired for a particular position uh, and he's in the training period. Because when an employee is in a training period and if he's really no good and he really does not have the aptitude or the skills to do a job, it's easier to lay him off at that point and send him away rather than actually fixing him and then watching him perform. So during the training, it's very, very important to give a daily feedback. You have to give them maybe 4 weeks. You watch them, give them a feedback, and if they are no good, if they're actually not fit for the role, they should be sent away, or then they should be given some particular training. And then feedback has to be in the form of a report, written feedback, and you have to have a meeting with the employees and give them have a discussion on the way they are performing and find out what are the problems or the drawbacks and try and help them with some training program or new knowledge or build their aptitude and attitude for that particular job. So this is a very interesting case. We will just quickly run through it. I thought it will help you fix the concept of performance appraisal in your minds very clearly. So Bent Erickson and Tim Twig, they said a doctor discharged means sacked, to remove. A doctor discharged a staff member who had been working for him for 9 months. She then claimed that her civil rights were violated and that she was discriminated against for her age. She was 46 years old. During an investigation, the doctor was asked to provide copies of her performance evaluations to justify the content that the discharge was based on her performance, not her age. No performance evaluations had been given to any employee, and this claim led to an out-of-court settlement. Now, considerations. The employee had been with the doctor for 9 months and had not received a performance appraisal. She claimed that she was not aware that her performance was not satisfactory and was surprised when she was terminated. She alleged that the sole reason for her discharge was her age, that the doctor wanted to hire a younger person. The doctor said she had been warned on several occasions, but nothing had been documented. So this is not an isolated incident. Such claims are made against doctors every day. What can you do to prevent this from happening? So let us try and study the solutions. So when you're doing performance appraisals, make sure that a discharge does not come out as a surprise to an employee. What is a discharge? When you are sacking somebody, you're asking an employee to leave the business organization, it should never come as a surprise to the employee. The employee has to be forewarned, given proper performance appraisals report, status should be shown to him, and he should know that his sacking is around the corner. One way to prevent this is to conduct written performance appraisals on a regular basis and provide ongoing constructive feedback as close to the notable work behavior as feasible. So a good performance review program should provide data for use in wage adjustments, promotions, reassignments, disciplinary actions, and or discharge. Provide objective, factual evaluations of an employee's performance rather than a snap judgment. Improve employees' job satisfaction and morale by communicating interest in their progress and personal development. Provide information regarding an employee's need for training. Provide a forum for setting goals and performance standards for next year or appraisal period. Provide an opportunity for each employee to discuss job problems and interests. How often should you do performance appraisals? We recommend that a new employee be given a performance appraisal after approximately 4 weeks and again 11 weeks from the date of hire. Using a form such as new employees progress report will be helpful. The employee should be evaluated on how well he or she has performed key duties and accountabilities. Performance factors usually are derived from the employee's job description. A more complete review using a standard format for consistency, like our performance appraisal form, covering such items as quality, quantity of work, job knowledge, and staff and patient relations should be conducted approximately once a year. So that is mandatory to have a performance analysis at the end of the year and give us a report, submit a report to the employee is very, very important. A note of caution. Many employers arrive at an overall rating of satisfactory, even though the performance is far from acceptable in one category. This is a big mistake. So students, this is one of the biggest drawbacks of performance appraisal. Many a times, performance appraisals are taken as a task and very, very poor employees are just given a satisfactory comment. And the fact that they are no good in the key tasks that they need to perform is not highlighted in the report. So if such satisfactory reports are sent, then these people cannot be sacked. You cannot make them leave your organization because they will claim that they have got a satisfactory report in their performance appraisal. So they have to be very candid. They have to be very objective. These performance appraisals have to be very honest and clear and highlight what exactly the candidate does not know or cannot do or has not done. And these reports, the honesty, the candid manner in which they are prepared will help the business organization in discharging or sending an employee away, and it will not come as a surprise to the employee. So students, this Bent Erickson and Tim Twig have shared with us this particular case, and it has been very useful for us to highlight the importance of performance appraisal and also the nuances of performance appraisals and the drawbacks of performance appraisal. Okay, now we move on to methods of performance appraisal. We are moving on to the modern methods. Uh, there are in all 6 methods that I'm going to list in my slides. We have management by objective. Now, MBO is something that we have studied before in our course. When we say management by objective, this is one activity where the the leader of your organization, or maybe we say the managers, come together along with their team or the employees. They sit together, they discuss, and together decide the goals or targets that they want to achieve. So it's not somewhere where the manager decides the goals and then the team works together to achieve those goals. So management by objective is the appraisal method where managers and employees together identify, plan, organize, and communicate objectives focused on during a specific appraisal period. So if the appraisal period is 6 months, 3 months, or 6 months, or 1 year, when we say that we are following a management by objective performance appraisal method, what are we doing? The manager and employees together, they identify, plan, organize, and communicate objectives to focus on during a specific. If they are looking at certain goals that they have achieved in this year, they will all work towards achieving those goals. So after setting clear goals, managers and subordinates periodically discuss the progress made to control and on the feasibility of achieving those set goals. So goals are decided together by the managers and the subordinates, and they work towards achieving those goals. And monitoring of these goals is done through the MBO process. Management by objective. This performance appraisal method is used to match the overarching organizational goals and objectives of employees effectively. Obviously, these goals cannot be tangent with the overarching or the overall goals of the business organization. They have to be they have to be within the purview of the goals of the business organization. While validating objectives using SMART method to see if the set objective is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time sensitive. So definitely these aspects have to be there when the goals are decided by the managers and the team members. At the end of the review period, which is could be quarterly, half yearly, or annual, employees are judged by their results. Success is rewarded with promotion and salary hike, whereas failure is dealt with transfer or further training. This process usually plays more on tangible goals And intangible aspects like interpersonal skills, commitment, etc., are often brushed under the rug. So obviously, when we're looking at MBO, we are measuring things that we can actually count, tangible goals. Steps to implement MBO program. Every manager must have 5 to 10 goals expressed in specific measurable terms. Manager can propose their goals in writing, which will be finalized after review. Each goal needs to include a description and a clear plan, list of tasks to accomplish it. Determine how progress will be measured and how frequently. Minimum quarterly, at least a quarterly cycle has to be maintained. List down corrective actions that will be taken if progress is not in accordance with plan. Ensure that goals at each level are related to the organizational objectives and levels. Now, management by objective. Did you know, very interesting, that the retail giant Walmart uses an extensive management by objective participatory approach to manage the performance of its middle and first line managers. Now, if you see this particular picture, very nicely it is explaining management by objectives, process flow. It shows employees, it shows a word and in between, there is this and. Okay, so you have manager and employees. So they plan, monitor, and review. So there is a feedback loop where there are definite objectives, set control points, choose timelines, check progress, reassess goals, offer feedback, collect results, award ratings, discuss outcomes. Excuse me. Now, we are moving on. We finished with management by objective. We are moving to the second method of performance appraisal, which is a 360-degree feedback. Now, this is a very easy and very important, very modern, very fair and rational method for performance appraisal. The only drawback that it has is that it could be very time consuming, and sometimes the response given by all the respondents 360-degree may not be valid, may not be relevant. There are reasons for this. Let us see. So, what is this 360-degree feedback? So, when we say 360 degrees, we are talking about a circle. So, a circle is 360 degrees. So, it is a feedback taken from all different dimensions of an employee working in an organization. So, if you have an employee, it could be top, bottom, left, right. So the people at your same level are your peers. People on the top are your seniors. People below you are your subordinates. And if you take another dimension, the outsiders, you could also have suppliers, you could also have customers. So many people interact with an employee in a business organization. And if we are able to get feedback from all the touch points of an employee regarding the effectiveness, efficiency of this employee, we say that we are taking a 360 feedback, 360-degree feedback. So it evaluates an employee using feedback collected from the employee's circle of influence, namely managers, peers, customers, suppliers, and also direct reports. This method will not only eliminate bias. So why do we say this eliminates bias? Because it is feedback from all dimensions. So if biases can come when you're taking a feedback from a superior. Bias, because superior may want to just not spoil the career of an employee and may give a satisfactory report or good report. So maybe that is because it's a traditional route taken, that of taking feedback from a superior, biases can creep in very easily. But if you're taking feedback from a 360 degree from the entire circle of people who surround an employee. We say that we are taking a very fair, unbiased method where maybe you are good with your superior, but you're not good with your subordinates. Maybe you're good with your peers, but you're not good with your customers. Maybe you're good with your customers, but you're not very good with your suppliers. So all this can be actually seen and studied through a 360-degree feedback. So this is a picture of a 360 degrees. So the lady in the middle is an employee, and all these people around her are the people who are superior. This is a superior, this is a subordinate, these are peers, this could be a supplier, this could be a customer, and this is how a 360-degree feedback. So in the 360-degree feedback, it is not about just taking feedback from others or outsiders. It begins with self-appraisal. So the employee is supposed to give a feedback about his or her own performance, because every employee uh, has his own abilities to think and judge regarding his own performances for that period of time. So and he is able to understand uh, the problems he faced or the gap that exists. So understand their strengths, their weaknesses, and get a self-appraisal done. So that is one report which is taken. Then managerial reviews, which is done by managers. So these reviews must include individual employee ratings awarded by supervisors, as well as valuation of a team or program done by senior managers. So managerial reviews is very, very important, because performance reviews done by managers are a part of the traditional and basic form of it. Because you report to your senior, and the senior is watching you do your task and achieve your goals. So he is able to give you your feedback. So this is the second report that you get. Then peer reviews. So in the 360 degree, you first make a self-assessment, make your own report about your performance. Then you get a feedback from your superior about how you have worked in that period. Then you also, in the third report, get feedback from your peers, people working at your same level. So if you're a marketing manager, get a report from accounts manager, or get a report from purchase manager, because you have been interacting with them. They are at the same level. And so the co-workers get a unique perspective on the employee's performance, making them most relevant evaluators. Subordinates appraising manager. Very, very delicate, because this is the first type of feedback mechanism or performance appraisal method where an employee is given feedback from his subordinates. This is quite dangerous, because many times the subordinates may not give negative feedback, and it becomes very delicate. But all the same, it is significant, because the reportees, through their documentation, may reveal the strengths, weaknesses of this employee concern. But what is the biggest drawback? The reluctance or fear of retribution can skew the appraisal results. So, of course, we see this particular report as not always being a very rational or correct opinion. The fifth feedback is the customer or client reviews. Very important. They may be outsiders. So the customer could be an insider, or an inside customer, or an outside customer. So internal customers, such as users of a product within the organization, or external customers who are not part of the company. So you can select these customers and take a feedback from them. However, though the internal users may be, the reports may be useful. However, the externals may not understand the importance of that report, and therefore they may not be giving proper feedback, because they don't know the background, the processes, or the policies on an employee. So there are a lot of advantages, increases the individual's awareness of how they perform and the impact it has on stakeholders, serve as a key to initiate coaching, counseling, and career development activities. Yes, 360-degree feedback will open up certain avenues where you need to correct yourself, encourage employees to invest in self-development, embrace change management, very important, integrate performance feedback with work culture, and promote engagement. Ideal for private sector organizations than public sector. As peer reviews and public sector organizations are more relieved. So this is an ideal scenario. So private sector will utilize it more willingly. Common reasons for failure: leniency in review, cultural differences, competitiveness, ineffective planning, misguided feedback. All these are the drawbacks that could creep in a 360-degree feedback. Now, did you know Royal Bank of Scotland, Sainsbury, which is a chain of supermarkets in the United Kingdom, and G4S, a leading global integrated security company. All of these big companies are using 360-degree multi-rater performance feedback to measure employee performance. Now we move on to the third type of performance appraisal method, which is assessment center method. So what is this method of performance appraisal? Now, this is definitely a method which is trying to find out whether you have certain abilities or capabilities of taking on a particular task. So assessment center is more a tool which is used to find out whether you're fit for a higher order position or a different type of role that a business organization is planning for you. So you may be very good at your task. You may be having a very good performance appraisal report at that point in time. But if you are being identified as a person who has to be given a higher order job, then you have to go through something known as an assessment center method performance appraisal activity to find out whether you are suitable for that kind of a role, a different role, a higher order role. Now, so what do they do in a performance appraisal? In an assessment center method, they're trying to assess whether you have the attitude, aptitude, the bandwidth, the knowledge, the skill for doing a particular task. And to do this, they actually do not have written tests, etc. They do a social simulation. They create a make-believe scenario, an environment. And there are a lot of in-basket exercises. What are these in-basket exercises? They give you a situation and they say, suppose you have 15 customers who have come into your office and they are complaining about your product. How are you going to handle this very stressful activity? So they have to perform a role play. So this could be one way of assessment center method. Then they could have informal discussions. They could talk about certain issues or aspects that a job may bring and employee would have to face. So informal discussions would bring out how that person thinks on a particular topic or aspect of that job. Fact-finding exercises, very interesting. Give them a particular case and ask them to find out facts. Give them a scenario and ask them to take decisions. Give them a problem and try and tell them to find solutions. All these are the different examples of how assessment center method works to find out the potentials of employees working in a business organization. Obviously, the biggest drawback is that it is time consuming and cost intensive process, but it is very popularly used, and you have professional organizations, expertise from assessment centers outside your business organization. Those professionals are called to conduct these kind of activities. So here is a typical example of assessment center method, where a timetable or a schedule is put of how assessment centers activities are done. It talks about completely welcome and introduction, competency-based interviews, and there is a break, and there is an analysis presentation exercise, and there is a lunch, role play exercise, is a break and intro exercises. All these are examples of assessment center methods. Then it is done for recruitment, it is done to study the competency of a person, whether a person is suitable for a particular job, whether he has the aptitudes to do it. All this can be tested through different tools available in the assessment center method. So stages in a typical assessment center appraisal, you have pre-assessment, during assessment, and post-assessment. You could please kindly go through that. We have seen the advantages of assessment center. It offers an insight of the employee's personality, ethics, tolerance, problem-solving skill, whether he's an introvert or an extrovert. All this can be studied through different tools in assessment center method. Is ideal for manufacturing organizations, service-based companies, educational institutions, and consulting firms to identify future organizational leaders and managers. Microsoft and Philips, did you know this? Microsoft and Philips are examples of two companies, and several other organizations also use assessment center practice to identify future leaders in their workforce. We're moving on to the fourth method of performance appraisal. This is BARS, behaviorally anchored rating scales. It was developed by Smith and Kendall to provide a better method of rating. Now, what happens in BARS? BARS is a very scientific method of performance appraisal. So they have a particular scale that they create. This scale comprises of the attributes that a person is supposed to have in performing a particular task. Now, let us take an example. Let us take the example of the dentist. A dentist job, the lady who was appointed as an assistant. If you're going to do a BARS rating scale, had he done a BARS rating scale, he could have put the different attributes as regular to work, as one of the attributes. Second, has the specialized skills to assist the dentist. Third, maintains diaries and appointments methodically. Fourth, has good communication skills. Fifth, is enthusiastic at work. So these are the four attributes that is required for a dentist assistant. And then they could have a vertical scale which gives the degree of proficiency in each of these attributes. So you could give a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the highest and 5 being the least. So 3 could be satisfactory, 2 could be very good, 1 could be excellent, 4 could be poor, and 5 could be extremely poor. So when you have certain attributes that you have listed and on your x-axis and on the y-axis, you have ratings given to them. You have like a Likert scale, which is measuring these attributes. We say you have a behavioral anchored rating scale. So here, this is another example. Here they are talking about, they've given you an example, which I have already given. This is a diagram where they are giving you the attributes under behavior column, and they are giving you the performance, the Likert scale performance, which begins with 1 as extremely poor, 2 as poor, 3 as below average, 4 as average, 5 as above average, 6 as good, and 7 is extremely good. So this is a 7-point scale. So they have 7 attributes which describe those 7 performances. And this is an example of parts behaviorally anchored rating scale. So while you are assessing a particular employee in a business organization, you are going to find out the rating for this particular, which point you are going to give that particular employee for the task or the role he is performing. So if you are giving him 3, it means can expect to unload the trucks when asked by a supervisor. So this is the level at which he is. If you are giving him 6, can expect to initiate creative ideas for improved sales. So it's very specific in explaining. It's not just saying that he's very good in his task. If he is good, why is he good? He is good because you can expect to initiate a creative idea for improved sales. And if you're giving somebody 7, you cannot just say that he's extremely good. He's on this particular behavior, which is can expect trainee to make valuable suggestions for increased sales and have positive relationships with customers all over the country. So this is behaviorally anchored rating scale. Right? So these are all explanations of bars, which I have already explained to you just now. We will move on to psychological appraisals. This is the 5th method of performance appraisal. This particular performance appraisal method is basically to understand the potential of an employee, to find out his hidden potential, that he's capable of a higher order job, and whether he can take on roles of leadership. It is not judging him on what he's doing now, but it is to find out his hidden potential. This method focuses on analyzing an employee's future performance rather than their present work. And there are 7 major components that are used for analysis. They try to find out the interpersonal skills, the cognitive abilities. Cognitive means thinking abilities, the intellectual trait, decision making, something to do with the brain, intellectual traits, leadership skills, personality traits, emotional quotient, and other related skills. All these are important aspects that are studied under psychological appraisal, and this is a very, very important method of performance appraisal. So psychological appraisals, when psychologists are used for evaluations, they assess an individual's potential. The appraisal consists of in-depth interviews, psychological tests, discussions with supervisors, and a review of other evaluations. All these are the methods in which psychological tests are conducted. Psychological and more. Now, Ford Motors, ExxonMobil, Procter and Gamble are psychological appraisals to test the personality and performance of their employees. So these are examples of companies who are using psychological appraisal method as performance appraisal for performance appraisal. Then human resource accounting. Very, very important. This is a very popular method for performance appraisal where it is a very matter of fact, very quantitative way of judging the performance of an employee is to find out whether the employee is giving you benefit or is a cost head. So when you hire a particular employee, he comes with a cost, definitely the recruitment, the selection process, the induction, training, all are cost heads. And then finally, you place him and then you are also paying him salary. Salary is also a very big cost. to the company. But when you, on one side, put all the costs that you're incurring on an employee, you have to also list down the benefit that the company is getting from this employee. So in this human resource cost accounting method, appraisal is a good appraisal only when the company is receiving more in monetary benefits. So the contribution made by the employee is more than the cost that he is incurring on the company. So this is an example. So human resource accounting cost, human resource accounting measurement of the cost and value of the people for an organization. Value human resource accounting helps management to value its human resources and use them with discretion and wisdom. So this is a very rational method, and it helps the evaluation of people based on cost accounting methods. Factors like unit-wise average service value, quality overhead costs, interpersonal relationships, and more are taken into account. It's highly dependency on the cost and benefit analysis, and the memory power of the reviewer is the drawback of human resource accounting. Obviously, this is appraisal performed by human beings, and then the benefits that an employee brings in or the cost that an employee brings in depends on the memory power of the reviewer. It's very effective because it measures cost and value, helps identify financial implications that an employee's performance has on an organization's bottom line. So if you have employees who are paid very high salaries, obviously their contribution to the company should be very, very good, and then the salaries that they take should be justified. So if they're just taking high salaries and not contributing to the profit of the business organization, then they are a burden on the company. Ideal for startups and small businesses where the performance of an employee can make or break the organization. So if you're a startup company and you have employed certain people and you're paying them high salary, obviously you are paying them because they are very good and they have to perform, they have to achieve their goals and targets, and if they're not doing it, then they are a burden and they are a cost head, and then they have to be taken out, laid off. Now, which is the best performance appraisal method for a company? There is no one single best performance appraisal. It all depends upon your business organization. And you must understand that companies who care for their people, companies who believe in motivating the employees in a business organization have to find the most suitable performance appraisal method for them. And they have to implement it correctly. So selecting the best appraisal method is one important task, and implementing it properly is a very critical task. And when this is done, it definitely helps the business organization, and it leads to proper development of human resource. So human resource development depends on a very rational selection of performance appraisal method and also excellent and rational implementation of that method. So these are the resources that I have used. I thank them, and I also thank you students for joining me in this session on performance appraisal. I hope you enjoyed the session as much as I did. I look forward to meeting all of you next Wednesday for our next unit in human resource management. Are there any questions, students? Before I sign out, if any of the students have any questions? Any questions, students? Okay, since no questions have come, I will end my session here. Thank you very much.